paraphrase a little bit with the license that I have as a former politician, they have a charade called an election. And the permanent government picks the actors to go on stage and read the scripts written by the permanent government. And they try to pick actors that won't improvise too much and who will do as they're told, in effect. And then they give them the money to get elected. And nobody else need apply because it's become such an expensive business, especially in the United States, where they raise this huge, astronomical amounts of money to get elected. Anyone who hasn't got the backing of the establishment just isn't in the race. And they call it democracy, but this is just nonsense. So it just confirms for me that we've got a real problem in countries that we call democracies, where we are basically the pawns of people who consider themselves to be the proprietors or the owners of our society, and it doesn't often matter who we elect, that they're just not going to change anything of significance. So these are fundamental policy questions that intrigue me, not just intrigue me, but which I think have to be resolved for the benefit of, first of all, the United States, but for all mankind, because, we tag along with the United States. Whatever they do, we're involved in, and I guess it's today's paper, our new Minister of National Defense, under the new minority government, Stephen Harper, has said that they're going to reopen the question of the anti-missile defense. Well, right away, my antenna goes up and say, hey, we're going to become part of this business of building a system designed to take the alien intruders on for size. Do we want to be part of that? Certainly, do we want to be part of it without knowing what we're doing, which is obviously the case. Does our Prime Minister, is he in the loop of this? Absolutely not. I'm sure he's not. Is our Minister of Defense, who is the Brigadier General, in the loop? Well, I'm sure he's not. He's just going along with the conventional wisdom that we have to build a system to protect us against rogue missiles from heaven only knows where, and party line, cover stories. And I say, hey, this isn't good enough. We've got to have some facts and figures and some real hard information before we start spending money and time and diverting resources from far more important things to be part of a project that probably is not good for us.
So you are for disclosure. You realize, if this seems like you're saying you are for disclosure, if you're for disclosure, do you realize it's like pulling the rug under from out of a lot of institutions that are well established, including the financial, the religious, the political institutions, and that is the excuse a lot of people have been using for keeping the secret secret? How would you deal with that?
Well, I believe in seeking the truth. And in the good book it says if you seek the truth, it'll make you free. And I don't think there's any other approach. I don't think you can live a lie. I'm a religious person. I'm not the least bit concerned about disclosure. And I'm absolutely determined that we find out what the truth is. And I think it's just natural and inevitable that there are other species elsewhere in the galaxy or galaxies that are more advanced technologically than we are, and probably morally and spiritually as well, and that we should cooperate with them and learn from them and work together to I'm used to saying make a better world. Well, we'll start by trying to make our world better, but maybe we can cooperate in making a better galaxy or galaxies, and that these are the kinds of projects and policies that we should be adopting, and not trying to spend billions and billions of dollars when we have hundreds of millions of people on our own planet dying from starvation and ill health. And I put in the scale of justice a few $100 billion for another project that happens to fit the temperament of the military-industrial complex, as against saving a few 100 million lives of people who otherwise don't have a chance, because we're just not helping when we have the capacity and the resources help them and to give them a more abundant life.
Well, this is also entering into a philosophy, and as a ufologist, I feel that we have plenty of sightings. We've been recording them forever. We have thousands and thousands. This is a phenomenon that from South America to Europe to Asia, we have enough proof that there are sightings of these anomalous objects. Now we're into the philosophy of what do we do with the truth? What do we do? What are the policy issues? And this goes into a brand new area that Dr. Michael Sala and Alfred Weber are interested in, called exopolitics. Would you agree that in the future we need to get together, even on a grassroots level, since the politicians aren't all doing it, to develop some policies concerning contact?
Well, I'm sure we have to do something, and I applaud them for their efforts. We have to do something positive by way of cooperation. And Alfred Weber suggested a 10-year period of contact and cooperation. And I think that would be marvelous. And heaven only knows where it would lead, but I think it would be far, far more positive than spending the next 10 years trying to build a military system capable of starting an intergalactic war.
Which we might not win.
Well, of course not.
I know people are
But that's a possibility that some military people would never take into account, you see. They'll say, we'll just keep working until we have the best and we win. And I understand the military mind.
And it's also a war makes money. So we're dealing with a complex that needs to live on the money-making situation.
It only makes money for some people. It puts the rest of us in debt.
Yeah.
Because under our very peculiar monetary system, which is, as you may or may not know, one of my principal lifetime
interests. Yes, I see you have other books written on this area. I did not know you were so prolific in surviving the global financial crisis and Agenda Plan for Action. You have written several books about the monetary system.
So, this is such a peculiar system that we expand the money supply to win a war. But the way we do it is by going further into debt. And consequently, every time we have another war, the people have this additional debt burden put on them, while the few people that own the munitions factories are the beneficiaries. And the people who own the beneficiaries of the munitions factories are not the ones that go and do the fighting. They're the ones that have the luxury continue during the wartime period by one means or another. And it's the ordinary people that do the fighting and lose their brothers and sons and fathers and uncles, and then have to carry the debt afterwards instead of having the freedom to regroup their lives and make them better. So there are some absolutely humongous policy issues involved, and I think that they're so big. I find it difficult to find words to describe them.
And on a grassroots level, if you were to give us advice, now you were using a lot of what you say in our Area 51 magazine because you've been courageous enough to come out with asking President Bush to, reconsider building a base on the moon and so forth. On a grassroots level, those people that realize that what you're saying is very wise, and what you're saying is really the truth, what advice would you give us all to do any kind of changing, to look at a better future on a grassroots level? Because you're dealing with the political level, and so you're speaking as someone who has a certain position. But us, the people, what would you suggest we do?
Well, I think, first of all, the people have to inform themselves as best they can with the information available. And there's a lot of information. You were saying that the Disclosure Project drew no press.
Yeah. Stephen Greer's Disclosure Project had all the necessary qualifications of a very well-orchestrated media event about the truth of UFOs, but it drew no press.
Maybe we have to use the Internet globally to spread the word, and then use that as a political vehicle to get grassroots people to demand of their politicians some action. And in Canada, recently, a group of friends are asking the Senate Defense Committee to hold an inquiry and to interview some of the people Dr. Greer had assembled and some of the others that you know,
Right.
and to talk to them. And I think in Canada they would get some press.
But do you think that Canada will receive outside pressure not to do that?
They may.